Well, Community ironically began as a very crass, non-creative effort to just make money. I had long since been uh, pitching time travel shows and shows about people whose dreams are reality and things that are generally unmarketable. And I started getting nervous as I entered the second half of my 30s that I'm going to need money for medical bills. I need to buy a house at some point. And Community, originally when I pitched it, was an attempt to just go mainstream.
It's like, you know, I grew up watching stuff like The Cosby Show or Different Strokes, where it's like there's a laugh track and it's whatever. And then you watch Community and it's just this whole other experience.
All these other people I know here at Titmouse and all my other friends were like, yeah, Community's great. And I was like, I'm sure it's awesome. Dan's really funny. And then I started watching it, and it's like so much parts of his personality, you know, like embedded into that. And it's just an incredibly fun show.
I mean, it's not just that it's really interestingly intertextual or metatextual or self-reflexive in the way that it deals with references to other media properties, but I think that there is a sense that the people who create the show actively love the show and are the kinds of people who watch the show. So there's this real kinship that exists between the people who create it and the people who watch it.
It takes its characters and does cool things with them, and like I think the fans just want to participate in that in any way possible. Like it lends itself to that kind of a world of artists that could take all those characters and just like do whatever they want with them.
I know that if I've ever taken the time to spend part of my day obsessing about a TV show when it wasn't on TV, that means that I love that thing. And so I know that people that are taking time to draw all of our characters as Batman villains love the show so much that having it once a week isn't enough for them. And why wouldn't you want to be a show like that?
Sometimes you might need to just roll it in the other direction to straighten it out.
So after NBC announced the hiatus for Community, I started to go into withdrawal, I guess. So I started doing this own fan project of mine, like a sort of video game for it. And over time, I just started losing more and more sleep. And after a while, I was like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? What's the point of all this? I bet you no one in the world is doing Community fan art at this time during the hiatus as I am.
Well, I was actually one of the artists that got rushed into the whole, oh God, let's make as much fan art as we can, like during the whole hiatus period.
You know, I've been so into the show, like I couldn't stop talking about it. Like I had friends I'd talk about it, like for hours on end, and I knew the hiatus was coming up. It's like, you know, I draw comics on my own, and I thought, well, that would be as good a time as any to try to start something.
We had heard of the hiatus, and one of the things that bothered me the most were that we were not going to get a Valentine's episode. So I said, I'm going to do some Valentine's cards. And so I did that.
Like I remember the first fan I saw of Community, I was like, whoa, it's so cool. And then like soon after that, I think that like first couple of artists like set something off.
And sure enough, there's actually more people doing fan art as a result of the hiatus. So I was like, well, what would happen if we got these people together into a group art show?
I heard about the 6 Pieces in a Movie art show. I actually received from a message I received through DeviantArt.
I was actually contacted by Mark, and it's like, hey, we're doing this thing. I'm like, awesome, I want in. I totally do.
My roommate, Callie, told me about the show.
I heard about it around the office.
I was on DeviantArt, and I follow this girl. Her name is Hummel, and she did this piece called a stack deck, and it was like community fan art, and then she put in the description like, oh, this is for the show, and I was like, there's a community art show and I don't know about it.
I looked at the list and I saw Schraub and Mahfood on there, and like I'd already been fans of Schraub and Mahfood, and that made sense. I knew Mahfood did the Kick Puncher comic, and when I saw it was an open call, it's like, I can be on a show that Rob Schraub and Jim Mahfood are in?
I was just contacted, hey, we're doing this art show, would you like to be involved? And I was working on the Law and Order episode at the time, and I was like immersed in Community, and I was like, of course, yes.
I can't honestly remember. I'm pretty sure it was probably online that I was first made aware of it.
Mark actually contacted me. He worked at my company previously, and he actually knew some people. I don't know how he found me, to be honest.
I went through all the community fan sites. I went through Reddit. I went through Twitter and Tumblr, LiveJournal, Facebook. It was sort of like this insomniac dream I had where, okay, so like in Field of Dreams where, you'd hear that voice saying, if you build it, they will come. Well, okay, that movie's probably a bit old, so let me do a more contemporary reference. Let's say in Wayne's World 2, Wayne has this dream where he's walking in the desert, and Jim Morrison goes up to him and says, you gotta build Wayne stock, and they will come. Before I knew it, I had, let's say, a roster of 130 people I was asking to join the show, and the biggest surprise was they all said yes.
When Mark approached me about the art show, there's little like red flags that kind of go off in your head when I come from a background in a studio, and cease and desist orders are common, and standards and practices and lawyers are big in studios because they want to protect their assets. So I immediately kind of went, ooh, I don't want him to get in trouble for anything that he's doing, because I support what he's doing. I think it's a great idea and something like that should be done. But, studio monkeys in suits don't really see it that way.
I thought it was a very, very, very smart, prudent idea to keep things as under the radar as possible for as long as possible with the art show, because one of the hugest advantages that individuals have against a system is that a system cannot maneuver as quickly as an individual. So Skynet can scour the earth for human bunkers, but humans can crawl out of those bunkers very quickly and throw a monkey wrench into the treads of a cyborg tank and then run away before the thing has a chance to turn. Like the same thing that allows these corporations to withhold people's payroll checks so that they can accrue interest from global banks makes it very hard for them to react to something quickly enough to make it stop happening.
Throughout the planning stages, we still didn't know how Sony or NBC would react to it. And, the only people I was in contact with was Dan and his assistant. So we played it safe. We made sure it was just the three of us that knew all the details at any given point. It was tough because, the rest of the PixelDrip staff were coming to me and be like, hey, what's going on? The event's getting closer. Is everything being handled? I'm like, yeah, just trust me on this,
Getting the show together is kind of not in my hands. Mark has taken over that whole thing, and there's times where I'm just like, hey, Mark, what about this? What about that? And he's like, yeah, it's taken care of. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, what about that thing? It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's getting taken care of. So part of me is like really scared, but the other part of me is just like, Mark wants this way more than I do right now. So I think he's got this.
Yeah, I think we covered like the basics anyway. Everything that's like most important. That's from you dudes. But yeah, anything else, like just feel free to ask me. Like that's what I'm trying to think. Like I know everything, but I don't know what you guys know of what I know.
So you don't know everything.
We just need to know what you want us to do.
It's like it's also clear in my mind, but I don't know who else is sharing in that vision yet.
Yeah. Where do you put it? I think what we really need to pay attention to is what pieces are next to what pieces. We don't want to have, evil Abed taking next to another evil Abed painting. Make sure things are spaced out.
Yeah, put them all.
Okay, but this is a friend.
All of a sudden, it's the day of the art show, and we're still panicking because we're running late on setup, and we're like, there can't be that many people like going to this place. It's 9 o'clock. There's still 2 hours before the doors open, and there's already people lining up to get inside. So we're like, guys, we still got 2 hours. If you're gonna wait, we're putting you to work. You're gonna help us out.
We decided to come early because we wanted to make sure we got in. We were afraid that we wouldn't, and we were so excited. We drove down from Oakland last night. My best friend and I decided to come down, kind of a birthday present for him. His birthday's next week. We want to come down and celebrate here with community fans and all the amazing artists. Mark, this is my best friend Mark. Yeah, it's his birthday next week, but we came down to celebrate. We're super excited to be here, and so far we're loving it, and he's killing it on Who's Who. He's just killing it today.
Thank you, Andrew and Mark. You're like totally saved our asses putting together like last minute preparations. If you enjoyed the Dreamatorium, you have to thank Andrew and Mark for that one.
I cannot get over how elaborate this whole show is, and that's so amazing to me. None of these are doodles in the corner of someone's notebook. They're pieces that people really dedicated their time and effort to. And when I first came in here, I was a little bit overwhelmed because it was so professional, and I love that. I love that people are unafraid and unabashed about how much they love the show like I do.
For me, he's the artist, so I go to a lot of art shows, but what I think is really special about this one is I'll look at some art and it's there's an inside joke between me and the artist, so there are a lot of pieces where I was laughing or I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome, I love that moment, so it kind of made it, a little bit more intimate and special, a joke between me and all these strangers who I don't know.
In terms of community fan art, I find the most interesting examples to be ones that sort of extend the impulse of the series to mash itself up with different genres and different media texts. So you see a lot of here's all the characters of Community done, as characters from Raiders of the Lost Ark, or here's all the characters from Community done in, fill in your cold movie, right? But you also see it stylistically. So I think one of the more interesting things about Community fan art is that people really do play with genres and styles of art.
It's incredible. If you look around, just the creativity it's just overwhelming, and the support makes me want to cry and scream in joy.
Ah! It's so cool. I think someone made Inspector Spacetime figure, action figures. I was like, oh my gosh! But everything is really awesome. I was like, oh my god.
I've never been a part of anything that touches fans on this level.
fans of community have always like really amazed us with their devotion. That there's so many people that would use their talents to draw us. Like I used to draw when I was a kid. I know what it's like to sit in a room and you know, work on it. You know, and to the amount of dedication they put into these pieces is just amazing.
Thank you to everybody who, out of the goodness of their heart, their love of the show, and their free time and lack of sleep, created all this incredible work. And I speak on behalf of the cast. We're incredibly grateful and thankful for all of it.
And everybody over here that wants to be in the costume contest.
So probably a couple weeks before the show, this woman emailed me saying, my daughter, she's a really big fan of the show. She introduced me to it, and as a result, we bonded. You know, we became big fans of Abed. I told her, if there's a line at the art show, just contact me, and we'll get your daughter inside. Like, pass the line, whatever. So come to the event, I get a text message, and it's this picture of this young lady dressed up as Geneva. But I think the extra bonus to that, though, is during the costume contest, Dan Harmon just pops up out of nowhere. He's all like, hey, you know, let me be the judge. Let me be the host and MC of the costume contest. And, you know, just to see the two of them, you know, interact, I think that was like a shining moment for her.
Nicole, is there anything you'd like to do? A little, you don't have to. The answer can be no. But if you want to give yourself a little edge.
But tuck, my lord, wouldn't give it tuppence for that sticky wicket.
When I walked into that place, my immediate first thing that I thought was, no wonder I got fired. Because could you cater to a smaller demographic? Because you're immediately like swimming in genius. How many geniuses are there? Is there a genius living next door? Is everybody on this block capable of painting something that looks beautiful, or reinterpreting someone else's mainstream TV show as a piece of art?
My favorite artist, no offense to any of the other ones, is the ones that have just been on DeviantArt or Tumblr, or this is like their first art gallery.
My name is Megan Lara. I'm a freelance artist. I do t-shirt designs and prints, mostly pop culture inspired. Probably one of my favorite pieces, the day planner Art Nouveau inspired painting of Annie. I don't know, I love Art Nouveau, and I thought she would be great because she's beautiful and she's kind of like awesome in that paintball episode. Basically, the process for Annie and really anything I do is, if it's like pop culture related, I'll put it on in the background or I'll watch it like over and over. And then I'll collect a bunch of images and have just a folder of reference images, and then I'll compile them all together. The reason I think I do fan art is, I don't know, I just love it so much that I want to make art for it. There's not really a reason, I just feel like I need to.
This is a better rendering of a character than television is capable of. This is someone with a different sensibility, interpreting one art form and then sending a signal back in an art form that the previous art form is incapable of, which is like people talking to dolphins, or these scientists in Close Encounters like sending their beeps out, the UFO sending its beeps out. There is no higher or lower power. There's just two incredibly different kinds of brains exchanging a language here.
I believe these came from Russia, and the process was I would just, I love doing caricatures just in my own time, and always in the back of my mind just being an artist, it's like, oh, they have an interesting face, they have an interesting personality or gesture, and I just thought they all kind of belong together.
The reason I make fan art is because it's so much fun. When I started school at animation school, I was worried that I will hate drawing, since now my hobby was now gonna be my career. But it's through fan art that I get to do the thing I love just because I love to. There's nobody judging me for it. It's just me having fun. Me doing this because I love them. Me because I love the characters. There's times when I come up with a fan art idea and I start laughing. It may be pathetic, but that's how much fun I have when I draw fan art.
So my name is Kyle Conroy. I am the coder and semi-artist behind the Journey to the Center of Hawkthorne video game. It's based on the digital estate planning episode of Community. And so I've been working for the past 3 weeks on taking the episode and turning it into a real playable video game. I've only been here for a couple hours and I got to watch so many people play it for the first time. Just seeing that positive feedback and seeing what people and how they were reacting to it. I watched somebody who just sat on the character selection screen and just went through every single costume and just cracked up at every single one. Like, those kind of human experiences are stuff that my normal day-to-day software engineering job, I don't get to see, right? But like creating this video game and those experiences, just fantastic.
What's really important about having a physical space to display fan art, I mean, obviously there's such an abundance of it online, right? It seems almost redundant to have it sort of exist within four walls, right? And because you're only going to be able to curate a certain small bit of all that's out there. But what's really important about putting this art in physical space is that putting it in kind of a gallery format treats it as real art, which is still, though fan art I think has been much more appreciated in recent years, it's still sort of getting over that last hurdle in terms of being considered to be real textual production or real culture. But B, and certainly more importantly, it gives a physical space for fans to gather in and meet other fans. Certainly, you know, the internet's wonderful because it lets us connect with fans all over the world. It lets us connect with people that we'll never meet in real life. It lets us sort of have these massive networks of communities that we exist within. But there's something about getting everybody together in a room that's really powerful.
Human beings! Human beings! Human beings! Human beings! Human beings!
Visual art, as much as like fan letters and blogs are important, but fan art is so important because, like, for me, when it comes to something I love, I want a t-shirt of that, I want a poster of that, I want a hat with it on, you know, I put it on my desktop. It's something I want to be a part of my identity. I like this. And when you see like either like a community sticker, people who also like that will connect with you. If you like that, I'm probably going to be friends with you because we get along. Like for the longest time before the reboot, like anytime I saw somebody anything close to Doctor Who, like on them, either like I go to the house, I got a videotape, I'm like, you like Doctor Who? We are now friends. We're friends. I mean, because there's nowhere you can be a bad person because you own this, and I'm always right. You know, those people are always great people that we get along, we see eye to eye with so many different things, and I think that's what community gets.
Is your character the hair?
Yes.
It was never our goal to make a statement that, hey, NBC, you should not cancel Community. We were there to showcase the fans and their relationship to the show.
I think for the fans, Community is such an interesting and unique thing. It's unlike anything on TV, and it's got a lightheartedness and a fun and a spirit that nothing else kind of does. Everything else is kind of manufactured and just, you know, A and B equals C, and then people will watch it. But there's a real love and heart to the show, and I think people really see that and just really enjoy it.
So if you look at my portfolio, I actually usually don't do a lot of fan art. I kind of made an exception for this one because it's something I just love so much. I couldn't help but to make something that supported the show.
This impact of how much the show has had on people, and me for one, it has had an impact on my life, and I feel like everyone wants to share that.
You just want to keep playing in that world, in the world that Dan and his team set up. It's like a sandbox, and everyone just wants to like be part of that.
I just want to stop what I'm doing and draw this thing that I love, and then I like get it out of my system because it really is like a labor of love.
I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not an actor, I'm an artist, and this is my way of saying, hey, I really like this.
if I ever worked for a show, and I will never work for a show, most likely again, that has as much fan art and as much attention as Community has, and I think that's going to be depressing for me because it's really the fan version of applauding. I mean, we can't hear them laugh at the show. We can't actually hear you enjoying it while you're enjoying it. And so doing something like that is such a clear way of saying to the show, like, I care about you. You've meant something to me. You're important to me. And so I hope people never stop making it. I hope the fan art goes for 60 seasons in a movie.
I always had a theory that the audience is not bad, stupid, naive, sheepish. I always wrote that show under the assumption that everyone watching was me. And the result of it may be that I don't have that show anymore, but there was no Big Bang Theory art show, and if there was, the art was shittier.
Give me your hands, show me the door. I cannot stand to wait anymore. Somebody said, be what you be. We could be old and cold and dead on the sea. But I love you more than words can say. Oh, I can't count the reasons I should stay. Give me some rope, time and a dream. Give me the hope to run out of steam. Somebody said it could be here.
$60? Hello, rich people? Troy's joining you. I'll hold.
I really hope that they all come, like everyone on the show, because I really just want to hang out with them and be like, look, I drew your face. Love me.
For whatever reason, hearing them say, study group, come out and play, it's like, just slays me every time.
I met the guy who played Kick Puncher at Rob Schraub's wedding. The really tall, he plays Jason in the Friday the 13th movies too, and super awesome, sweet guy. But I was like, Kick Puncher! I drew you!
My favorite community quote is when Troy says, "You are the AT&T of people." And that's also the same name of the network at my house right now.
There's that whole, in the flashback episode, I think, where he just keeps coming in and like the different costumes, like the Catwoman costume and like Gone with the Wind and being like, I don't give a Dean.
Episode 2, the ending rap sequence where they're talking about Escuelo, Escuelo, Basusa, Bolo. You know that one, that crazy rap?
It's the instructor from the beginner pottery episode where he goes, I'm banning everyone from ever reenacting that scene from Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. If I so much as hear 3 bars from that Righteous Brothers song, I will come after you.
This is Amelia. Like I said, she's the Nichols of Starburns. This is kind of how she is. She's always on my shoulder, basically, unless she wants to jump off, like right now.
Having a lot of fun. I wish I had the foresight to come as Pillow Man.
For some reason that night, I just woke up and I was just like, oh my God, Starburns. I'm so gonna be Starburns.
And I think this is a women's bathrobe and it's the wrong color. But I don't care. I just want to do this for a little bit, so.
Well, we really wanted to cover Seal, Kissed by a Rose, because they do that in the community episode. The karaoke thing, but it was like, we didn't have enough time, and
it's really complicated.
Seal has an incredible vocal range. I don't.
Excuse me. Don't cut that out.
Good birthday weekend. He's turning 21. This is our celebration. We drove down in the car. Definitely worth all the effort to get down here and fix up the car. We would have deeply regretted this. I don't think we would have known how much we would have regretted it.
What am I taking away other than just I had a lot of fun and made friends?
you so much for supporting my little doodles of just this show that I love the most in the entire world. And thanks everyone so much for supporting Community, because it's honestly the greatest show on TV right now.
6 seasons and a movie.
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 6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons and a movie.